Hello everyone, my name is Melinda Hart. You are watching Stamping with Hart. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin Up, and today we are going to make these super cute St. Patrick's Day theme cards. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love St. Patrick's Day. I know this is not one of the most crafted holidays, not one of the most popular for cards, but I would definitely urge you to consider it this year if you're going to be missing out on the typical St. Patrick's Day activities. If you like St. Patrick's Day projects, definitely like this video. Let me know. The feedback helps me so much in understanding what you guys like to see from me. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel and you like crafting tutorials, I would encourage you to subscribe. But yeah, so much fun. Not too difficult. I did use a lot of products. I'll just give you a heads up right there between the insides and the outsides of these cards. But definitely worth it if you want to let somebody know that you're thinking about them on St. Patrick's Day. If you're Irish, we definitely have a lot of Irish in my family. So stick around if you're interested in seeing the making of these cards. We're actually going to be using the watercolor paper. We're also going to be using this glimmer paper as well, this rainbow glimmer paper. And let me just show you really quickly where you can find these in the Stampin' Up! Annual catalog. This is the 2020-2021 annual catalog. You will find on page 153 of the paper basics the fluid 100 watercolor paper and then the rainbow glimmer paper. We'll be using both of those for this project. The other thing that I want to point out is on page 147 for coloring tools. I'm going to point out the water painters. Okay, so the one thing I want to say about the water painters is that they are a little bit different than the aqua painters. I have the old one. I just wanted to say these are the aqua painters. So they have a new updated version, whether you have the old ones or the new ones. I just wanted to tell you which ones were available in the catalog so that you are not confused. There's different tips. So a fine tip, a medium tip, and a large flat brush tip. They're letting you know which papers you want to use your water painters with or your aqua painters. We're also going to be using the classic Stampin' Ink refills in the brights. Okay, so this right here, we're going to be using the brights for this particular card. I'll tell you which colors, and that's on page 144. Okay, so the first thing that I want to say about this card is that it definitely took me a few tries to get that color to a place where I was happy with it. Just want you to know it's not a perfect process. It's all about experimenting. So I just would recommend that you have some scrap paper, or if you did mess up on one of your watercolor pages, if you want to hold on to that for cleaning off your brush, I think that could be really helpful. And don't be afraid to have fun with this. I'm going to be using my big block for this, Clear Block F. So for our colors, I looked up on Google Images the official rainbow colors because I wasn't sure what order they went in. So it is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and then like an indigo color and purple. So I kept that as close as I could. I chose to do the paper vertically, not horizontally. Okay, so whatever you're more comfortable with. I'm also not going to trim this down until after we make this, just in case there are any mistakes or anything like that. This is really just to play and get that color the way that we want it. So just make sure you have some water in there. And then if you gently squeeze it, and I don't have the new water painters, but this is very wet right now. Okay, so the one thing that I did notice is that you don't want it to be too wet when you're getting close to the colors. So you're going to see me kind of doing the colors a little bit separate at first, and then we're going to blend them in. So we'll try that again and see how we do. Okay, so I ended up making 2 of these. Didn't get either one exactly perfect. Probably this one is the best one, and I kept this one a little bit tighter with the different colors. I kept the strips thinner, or I should say the rows thinner. With these, it ended up getting a little bit wider as I was blending it out. And then here, I kind of reined it back in a little bit, but not 100% perfect there. Maybe you can share some tips with me. But I just blended a little bit of water with each one of the colors. And then sort of as I was laying it down on the paper, I felt like it could get a little bit harsh if I didn't dab off first. So I was just dabbing off and then spreading out the color. And then I would keep the colors slightly separated because I found that it would start to bleed. And of course, if you have like a paper towel or something, you can blend it down. But if you want to try to get a hold of that bleeding, I would say make sure it's not like sopping wet. Make sure it's not too wet when you're blending it. We are going to cut it down to 4 inches by 5.5 inches. So 4 by 5.5 is going to be our rainbow layer. And then this piece, so our card base here, yep, 12 by 4.5. Okay, so it's 12 by 4.5 scored at 6 inches. And this was actually my last full piece of this glimmer paper. So this is what it looks like when it's 12 by 12. And since I used the Granny Apple Green section for this card, we're going to use, let's see, which side should we go for? Should we do the yellow or should we do the purpley pink? Let's just take a look at this and see. I really like the yellow. So we're going to do the yellow side. Okay, we're going to make our pot of gold now. We're also going to die cut out these Happy St. Patrick's Day dies, which are right here. So these are part of the Word Wish dies. I absolutely love this die set. I actually love the stamp set that coordinates with it too. A wish for everything. And you can see St. Patrick's, have a happy. You can do that. You actually get the inside sentiment. May the luck of the Irish go double for you. I absolutely love this. We're going to use our 2-inch circle punch to do the pot of gold. We're gonna punch 2 circles. All right, and now we're just gonna bring this circle back in just so that it like peeks through, and we're gonna create that little divot. If you go to the existing circle that you just punched, and then you kind of do that little half moon right there. See that half moon in there? This is what comes out. Okay. Because I'm working with specialty cardstock and watercolor paper, I'm going to be using a stronger adhesive. You could use your Stampin' Steel Plus. I'm using the Tear and Tape adhesive. Okay, so the fine tip glue pen is going to be one of our best friends today. This is what I like to use when I'm working with these intricate dies. We're also going to use it to glue together the pot. Less is more with this stuff. we're gonna pop our, we're gonna put our pot up on dimensional. All right, and then with this card, I had stopped the color up here, so I kind of wanted to show it like it was, the treasure was spilling out, like it was tipping out. And we're going to keep that same theme here, but it looks like we might see some of our color. So totally up to you how you want to do that. You might want to put your pot over here in the corner, or don't come all the way down with your color. We're going to put some dimensionals here in the pot. Okay, so we are going to use the sequins for everything. These are still available, and I just checked in the Stampin' Up store, and we're going to be using these gold pieces right here. We're going to build our treasure as we go. I know this looks crazy, but it'll start to fill out, you'll see. Okay, so for our little 3-leaf clover, 3 leaves is a clover, 4 leaves is a shamrock, I believe. We're going to be using this little heart here. This is from the Heartfelt stamp set. You can actually use this for St. Patrick's Day as well, in many different ways, but we're going to be using that little stamp. We're also going to be using the So Lucky to Have You, or So Lucky to Have a Friend Like You. And we're also going to be using this on another card, and replacing the Valentine's with St. Patrick's. Just a quick reference right there to that little stamp there. I'm going to be using Granny Apple Green. We're going to use Granny Apple Green for this. We're going to use a scrap piece of the same kind of paper. I thought it would be, you know, cute to keep it on the watercolor paper. Okay, so what we're going to do is connect these hearts. So we're just going to, and this is one of the reasons why it's nice to have the photopolymer. I'm going to restamp that because you guys didn't see me stamping it the first time. So here, we're just going to do a slight overlap. We just want them to connect. Same thing, connect. Okay. You can do more than one till you get the hang of it. Okay, and then I'm going to take my Stampin' Blend in the Granny Apple Green Light. And I'm just going to bring a little tail down here. Okay. And for the inside of our card, we are going to stamp our little sentiment. I'm going to do a darker green on the inside. We'll do garden green. Garden green. And I just realized that you guys didn't see me stamp that. My apologies. I'm sorry that that was off camera. Okay, so check these out. I mean, these are just the most bright, cheerful cards. I just absolutely love how these turned out. So if you have somebody who's Irish in your family and who really loves St. Patrick's Day, I know that where I live, we are not having a parade. It's being delayed or postponed is, I believe, the right word. So if you know somebody, or maybe if you went to the parade every year with somebody and they're not going to get to go, maybe send them a card in the mail or a little treat with this theme, and they will absolutely love it. Okay, so for our next card, which is this cute top hat card or leprechaun hat card, I already pre-cut a bunch of the pieces here, so just bear with me. So for your card base, I went for a slightly different card size this time. It's going to be 4.5 by 11, and then you are going to score it at 5.5. Okay, this is shaded spruce cardstock. I'm using, I believe this is the True Love Designer Series paper in the mini catalog, January to June 2021. And this is cut 4 inches by 5.5. So I actually want this to go the full length of the top and the bottom of the card. We're also going to do a gold accent strip here, just about 1/4 of the way down on the card, and this is 1 inch by 4 inches, this gold foil. Okay, and then for the actual, we're going to use our same dies from the Word Wish dies for our Happy St. Patrick's Day. We'll be using the same adhesive for it too. And for our hat, we are going to be using the All Dressed Up dies. These are dies that I like to use a lot in projects. If you've seen any of my videos, I'll link to a couple just in case you haven't. So this actually makes, let me see if I can set that down there. This die actually makes a treat box that looks like a purse. But there are so many different things that you can do with it. This is the die that makes the strap on the purse. That is to go onto the purse strap as an accent. Today we're going to turn it into a hat. Okay, so you're going to need some basic black cardstock. I've already cut these pieces, so this is what is going to become the hat right here. And then we're going to use that as the base of the hat. We also cut a piece in shaded spruce, and that's to give this strap here that green accent, that shaded spruce accent. And then I took a piece of the gold foil. Okay, so there it is right there. How cute that is. using those little polka dots right there to get my line straight. Okay. So for the next part, we're going to take our scissors, and the first thing we're going to do is trim off this flap here. I'm just going to follow the line. Same here, I'm just going to follow this line. That's normally where you would do your folding. For our little hat strap, we're actually going to trim that down to 3.5 inches. 3.5 inches. Okay, so we have that for our hat. We have our second strap, and we have our buckle. So what we're going to do is put our hat together and then get it onto the card base. Right. The next thing that we are going to do is slide our belt buckle on, or slide our buckle on, I should say. I'm going to put some tear and tape right on the back. I'm going to lay this down, center the buckle, okay. And now we're just going to trim off the excess. All right, it's as easy as that. Isn't that cute? Okay, so we're going to put this down onto the card. Okay, so that's the outside of our card. You may notice that on this card, it's cut a little short, and that was because I made a mistake. So just wanted to point that out, but let's take a look at the inside of the card. And for the inside, we have, "May the luck of the Irish go double for you." Okay, so we have our shaded spruce cardstock. We have our sentiment. so there is our second Happy St. Patrick's Day card. Super cute and pretty easy. Barely any stamping at all. Okay, so for our last card, I have to improvise, and I do apologize about that. I did not realize how low I was on the rainbow shimmer paper, so I don't have a piece large enough left to make it my layer on this card. So if you don't mind, we are going to slightly change up our layers and our measurements. Okay, so we're going to switch to this here. We'll stick with the black and white theme instead, but if you have extras or any glimmer paper or foil papers that you want to use, the gold would also be gorgeous there, whatever your preference. Okay, so let's go through the pieces and what we're going to be using here. So you're going to need a basic black card base. This is 5.5 by 8.5 and then scored at 4.25. Okay. For our layering piece, this is garden green, and then this is just 1/4 of an inch, where this one is 1/2 inch down that layer. Okay, so just depending on how much of that black that you want to show through there. So this ends up being 5.25 by 4. Our next layer, which would be your glimmer layer or your black and white, this is from the True Love Designer Series paper. So this is 3.5 by 4.75. And then our Whisper white layer, or whatever your white cardstock layer is, you will do 4.25 by 3. Okay. So on this side, I already have it stamped. I was just playing around with backgrounds, but we're going to do, we'll stamp it again here. So on this card, I did the same thing. I just kind of stamped these little polka dots all around, and that is, I believe, in Granny Apple Green. And then this stamped image here, the heart and the St. Patrick's, are in Garden Green. So the 3 hearts that we're seeing here with the stem are also garden green cardstock. So we're going to make 3 of those. I'm going to be using the Hart punch for this. Okay, and then that die that we just used for the purse strap, that's the same exact piece here. And I actually have a leftover piece, so we're just going to use the leftover piece for that. Okay, we're also going to stamp the image. We'll do that in just a moment, just trying to get our pieces together here. We're also going to need a piece of the gold foil sheet. We are going to cut the gold foil sheet to 1/2 inch. Okay. We'll come back to this in a minute. I'm not exactly sure what the measurement on this one is. Let's see. It's probably... looks like it's about 2 3/4. So we'll do 3 1/4 just to be safe. Okay, so as you can see, that's actually still a little bit too, covers a little too much. I mean, you can get away with it, but we're actually going to cut that down just a little more. Okay. Much better. Okay, we'll stick with that. Okay. We're going to take our garden green ink. We're going to be using this Hart stamp from the Heartfelt stamp set, this one here. We're going to take our punch, just going to line this up until I'm happy with it. Okay, we're also going to need a very thin strip. We'll cut this to see. All right, so on the other side I have my, well, this is what we're going to use for our background. This is the St. Patrick's Day stamp. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is stamp our background. I did try to stick with the same stamp sets, but I did deviate a little bit for these. I used this stamp from Pattern Play. Whatever background stamp you have will, I'm sure, work unless you want to use designer series paper. I just decided to go with those. I thought they were cute. Granny Apple Green. No particular order here. Okay, we're going to put our Clover together with dimensionals. Okay, so I'm going to do the center first. What I ended up doing with the side ones was slightly tucking them under. So it's just kind of like that, where the tips meet. Same thing, I'm just going to tuck it under so that they meet. I'm a little off center here. Oh well. I'm going to use the end strip of the dimensionals for the stem. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to take our stamped heart, we're going to put that over top. Okay. We're going to come back to our gold foil strip. All right, and that's just going to cover our Valentine's Day. You could also do like a heat emboss in white on that. That would be cute. Okay, so here is our slightly changed up version of our Happy St. Patrick's Day Clover card. And let's see. So on the inside we have so lucky to have a friend like you. And we're just going to do the same exact thing for the inside of this card. All right, our inside layering piece is going to be 4 by 5 1/4 inches. I'm going to take my Shaded Spruce Light marker, my Stampin' Blend, just color that in. I'm going to take my Shaded Spruce Dark and make a little stem. Okay, so here we go. I wanted to spend a moment talking about the different greens that Stampin' Up! Has. And there are more bluish greens and things like that that I did not include here. I just sort of grabbed the typical green variety so that you could kind of see the differences here in the colors. My personal favorites were Granny Apple Green, Garden Green, and Shaded Spruce. But you could use whatever would work for you. These are the different cardstock samples. Now, we no longer sell this, but I wanted to point this out because if you do have the green foil sheets from the holidays, these are wonderful for St. Patrick's Day projects. So get that foil back out again and make some fun stuff with this. Connor and I are going to be making a bunch of these so that we can do some clovers and shamrocks and hang them on. We have these light up trees out in our dining room. So it's going to be super cute to work with. So just in case you needed just some ideas for the different greens that we have. The other thing, this is something that I was working on completely separately. If you can check it out on my Facebook page if you're interested, for the crocodile set, the O Snap set. But because I was working with greens and because St. Patrick's Day has been on my mind, you could also do sort of a quick guide with all of your green colors that you happen to have on hand. I'm not saying this is all of the Stampin' Blends. This is just what I had on hand in the greens that I wanted to check out. So this is a great idea too if you're playing around with color as you're getting into March and spring and starting to make a lot more projects that have that pop of green in it. We already talked about sequins for everything being great for a pot of gold and whatever you have on hand. I thought these would be really cute too. The playing with patterns resin dots in the yellow. The Daffodil Delight, I think is what that color is. Yeah, I mean, just because they're three-dimensional, and they have like a really cool look to them that almost looks like a coin. So these would be fun to use in a pot of gold too. I just wanted to point that out. There are so many different things that you could use, including the rhinestones.